So, Anthony, you, as far as Minnesota hockey, you reached the pinnacle when you won the state championship with Edina. But I'm sure your path, starting out in youth hockey and getting all the way to being a state champion with Edina probably wasn't easy. I mean, you grew up in Minnesota, which is predominantly white. You played a sport, hockey, which is predominantly white. How tough was it for you, and what challenges did you have to overcome to eventually become a state champion?
That's a great question, Wayne. Thank you. So a little bit about myself. I was born actually in Washington, D.C., kind of like where Marcin played. There's a coach now in the NHL who was for the Toronto Maple Leafs and who was from Washington, D.C. as well. And so, some happy history there. Grew up in Minnesota, grew up in Edina, and I was always one of the only, if not the only, black person on my team. And, it was always a very unique experience. And so I was a good player. I played with a lot of really good, great players as well. And so a lot of the success that we had there was, again, due to the fact that we had people that were different on those teams. I had friends, I had allies that, stepped in a lot of times in those tough situations. Sometimes not always as well, but again, we're having these conversations today so that we can be better about things like that. I would say that one of the tougher things you have to go through with that sense is the isolation. The idea that maybe nobody understands kind of what you're going through, even if you had parents at home. They might not, either you might be a first generation player, and so your parents don't fully know what it's like to be in the corners or to be in a scrum, and somebody says something to you, flippantly, and then you have to either react or not react and continue to play the rest of the game. Maybe you dwell on it, maybe you don't, and so a lot of difficulty thinking through that processing. For myself personally, I kind of buried a lot of it until I thought about it later on in my life. And I was asked right after we had won, and I know that I am sitting up here, but I was a part of a team with a lot of people I'd played with since I had been around the age of 5, 6 years old. And again, one of those things that you do when you get to that pinnacle is reflect. And so I reflected then. I was asked a few questions about, hey, what was it like to be one of the only black players? Except for, it's hard to see in pictures sometimes, but visibly, I was the first African American to be in a AA winning team for the state tournament in Minnesota. And I was asked, what was that like? And that was really, again, one of the first times that I had been asked to reflect on that. And you find yourself, again, having to dig deep and remember why you started something in the first place. Somebody yesterday we were talking with who a black woman won the Patty Kosmar Trophy. I encourage you all to actually look her up and see her play in Minnesota for the team here. But she had talked about her goal was to get a scholarship and to go to college and be able to play hockey for free, or in that sense. For myself, for a lot of guys that I grew up with, it was to win, to win, but the play-in and then to win the state tournament. And so I did have that honor to play in it 3 times and to win it once with again, very good friends of mine. And race and other things that have played a role in that, right? Just persevering through, tough situations in general that maybe, again, always didn't have to deal with race. Is always easier with people that look like you and can relate, and so that's why someone like me does what I do to come back to the game. I don't play professionally, I don't, have like all those, accolades that some of the people might have, but I do have experience on the rink. I do have, real life experience being in those corners, being, in a scrum, and having to check your emotions and come out of there to know that I'm on a team, and it might feel good to punch that person in the face right now or cross-check them or do something along the lines of that, but that will ultimately hurt your team. I'm up here as a state champion, as Wayne has graciously said. That would not have happened had I reacted to the things that were happening on the ice to me in real time every single time, right? And so a way that, maybe I could, be able to get back at people is, you hit them clean, you score a goal, right? You make something of yourself in your life and you come back and you can tell your story and you can be maybe, more understood in those sense. And so that's the advice I would give. It doesn't have to be about hockey at all. Don't let somebody tell you that you can't do something or try to put you in a box and allow yourself to believe that I am not capable of doing whatever I believe that I am good at or what I want to be able to do.
You know, when you were asked after winning the state championship, you're the first black player to win the AA title. How does that feel? I really liked how Jaden, when he was asked what's it like to be a black hockey player, he goes, I'm a hockey player that happens to be black. I just love that answer, and that should be the answer.
Yeah, we just want to play. You know, we just want to play hockey like everybody else.
You wrote a book, and the book, it's not quite the title on your lapel there, but the book is entitled Hockey is for Everybody. And it's right that, we're holding it up right there. So why did you feel the need to write the book, and what is the main message that if these kids were to read the book, what's the main message you hope they take away from reading it?
One, again, you can, hockey is for everybody, everything's for everybody, right? Don't let somebody tell you that you can't do something. You're not put in a box. You're, an individual that has talent, skills, ambitions, and no matter what anybody says to you, go ahead and go after that. So for myself, why I decided to write this children's book, I had moved away from the game at that point. Hockey was great to me, but you move on and you do other things, and so I enrolled at UND, and I've studied abroad a few times. I recommend if you're going to go undergrad in liberal arts direction, maybe you're going to go trades and all that. But I think traveling, getting outside of the country and gaining a new perspective on who you are in the world is really important. And so went ahead and did that. Moved out to Washington, D.C. after I was done with undergrad. A lot of cool things happened there. I was in a foster home for a little bit after I was born, and so I was able to go back there, see those kind of things, and witness all of that. And so I had come a little bit of full circle in my own life, and then and I believe y'all were at least alive, maybe don't have a full living memory, but the pandemic happens, right? And so you're walking around. I was living in DC at the time, working at a think tank, going to law school part-time, and I just found myself all of a sudden in the shoebox I like to joke about, because at that time, like you pay up the wazoo to live in a very small apartment on the East Coast a lot of times, but you're really never there. You're hanging out with people, you're eating, you're doing your working, all that kind of stuff. But when the pandemic happened, you couldn't go anywhere, and so I'm in this very, very small room, seeing all these things happening, right? And you start to just kind of reflect. And then George Floyd is tragically murdered, and I see that happening. Yes, a question in the back?
Yeah, can you talk about your team real quick? Your team, that's on the screen. Yeah.
Yes, I'll hurry it up, but I'll get that. So yeah, anyway, like I saw that happening, and I thought to myself that, this is not what I remember. Again, things have happened, but this kind of pervasive, discrimination, anti-human behavior that we were seeing dealt out by people that look different was something that I was shocked by. And so I thought that somebody has to do something. With my background of growing up around many different people, I went to different schools growing up, so people that were first-generation immigrant families, people that also had siblings or had relatives that owned major sports teams in Minnesota, like the Wild and stuff like that. And so I saw really a plethora of different backgrounds, but one thing I always realized and recognized is that everybody was the same, right? There might be little differences that we have, but at the end of the day, we really all are the same. And so that's something I really took with me. And so I started coaching hockey when I moved back to from DC. I thought I need to get back in touch with my roots. I started playing hockey because the Dynamites, which ran out of Park Avenue United Methodist Church, were getting an award back in the '99 City Champion Cup. My brother saw these young black boys getting an award for hockey. My brother's a black man as well. He's 5 years older than myself. Asked my parents, what were they getting this award for? He saw these kids getting clapped for, and what's going on? Where are these guys going? And I said, oh, that's hockey. My brother said, hockey? I want to play hockey. And so being a younger brother, I wanted to do everything my older brother was doing. And that's how we started. So I moved back from DC, like I said, and I wanted to be a part of that change. The coaches I had growing up were, great mentors and whatnot for me. And so I started coaching with the guy on there, Kendall Bolin Porter. It's another black man from Minnesota, grew up in the Highland, St. Paul area, played for Cretin Durham Hall, Great career there. Went on to St. Scholastica, Finlandia, and Finlandia University, and then also played professional a little bit. So me and him coach at North Commons. Who knows where North Commons Park is? All right, yeah, look at that. Those are your contemporaries. How cool is that? They're playing hockey. They won. We won. That's us holding up the championship right there for our park board league. And so it was really cool because when we started the season, a lot of these guys didn't see themselves as champions, right? And what's really cool is that this was 2-3 years ago now, but as we've developed now, people still come back, they see that picture hanging in North Commons Park, and they'll still see the boys playing, they'll talk to me and Kendall, and they'll be like, wow, you guys won that championship. And so, you get a sense of pride behind being a part of something and, working towards that during the year and then having that kind of success. And so I ended up writing the children's book because as I was hearing from these kids in this Mosaic Hockey Collective is a nonprofit that I helped start with a few other hockey parents, Meredith Lang, Matt Cafferney, Becca Clays, Candy Olson, Perry Wilkerson, a lot of other great folk, and looking at growing the game and representation mattering. And so I thought, another great way to have that go is to write a book, right? I had my own experiences that I had, things that were being told to me by parents that, parents that like your parents and all that, were very similar to what I had experienced. We saw, when this documentary, which was 2015, was made, and so, people talking about, go back to the basketball court, you don't belong here, etc., all that kind of stuff. Those are things that I got, on the ice. Frequently, it wasn't, again, all the time remotely, but enough that, again, you have these long-lasting emotional scars that you get to think about later on in life. And so what's cool about a children's book is that, not only are y'all in the crowd able to read it, understand it, digest it, but your parents might read it to you. An adult can sit down and flip through it in one sitting and really get a message. And so again, looking at the messaging behind that is that we are all more alike than we are different. If you sit in a room with somebody, you might believe that there's nothing I can relate with this person on. But gosh, I tell you, you sit down and start talking and look at each other from a human level, you will find ample things to agree on, ample things that you both like, tastes that you both like, smells you both like, sports, etc., all that kind of stuff. But why what happened, I believe personally, in the May of 2020, when what happened with George Floyd, is that the breakdown and us not being intentional about building strong cross-cultural relationships, and we've gotten away from that. And so this is what we're doing here. You look around here, right? We're talking about a sport like hockey, and in a room with people that are all different size, shapes, backgrounds, religions, ethnicities, etc. And so that's what's so beautiful about a sport like hockey, and why I continue to sing its praises and hope that you all get a chance to have an experience like I did, winning the state championship, or even again playing park board, winning there, or just getting on the ice and having fun, exercising, getting a smile on your face, breaking a sweat. It's all good.
Akua, you didn't grow up playing ice hockey, but you grew up a fan of ice hockey. What was it that drew you to the game?
Growing up, I had known, I grew up in Michigan, and that was when the Detroit Red Wings were really good, so watching them, kind of hearing on the periphery them winning Stanley Cups. But when my family moved to New Jersey, one of my best friends growing up was a Philadelphia Flyers fan. So at the time, she was one of the few friends that I had that enjoyed hockey, so we would always talk about it in school, and ended up our senior year getting to go to a Stanley Cup game. Round 4 was Flyers versus Rangers. And one of my favorite players, Wayne Simmons, who was shown in the documentary, ended up scoring a hat trick. And from then, I just realized how much I really enjoyed watching the sport. It was something that I was able to connect with one of my best friends on. And from that point on, I knew I was interested in working in sports, and then decided that I wanted to work specifically in hockey.
So Akua points out, to have a career in hockey doesn't mean you have to play hockey. So she never played ice hockey. She doesn't, well, you do play a little bit of ice hockey now in the women's league. You try? Yes. But you work in ice hockey. And hockey is for everyone. It doesn't matter if you're on the ice as a player, if you're in the stands as a fan, or like Akua, if you work in the game. And she now, like I said earlier, is the girls growth and DE&I manager for Minnesota Hockey. Tell me, what are your biggest challenges of your job as the DEI manager for Minnesota Hockey?
the biggest challenges are really just getting out in front of people, diverse groups of people, and even just sharing the game of hockey with them. There are a bunch of different reasons why people may play or not play, so kind of figuring out where I can bridge that gap, even with specific families. If it's they need gear, it's how do we source gear to get it to them? If they don't even know where do they go to play, finding out where they live and finding programs and opportunities for them is the hardest part. And also with that, getting people to understand why it's important that we reach out, and we're very intentional to reaching out to people who haven't previously played. Because if we do the same things that we've always done, we'll get the same result that we've always gotten. So if we want to increase diversity in the game, it's a lot of my job is really trying to educate people and getting them to see different perspectives and understanding that we have to change our approach to reach different audiences and getting them interested in the game.
I'm curious, how many of you have ever heard an adult in your life, whether it be a parent, a teacher, someone who loves you, say, if you put your mind to it, you can do anything? Okay? And I would say, you put your mind to it, you work hard, good attitude. These are all three individuals who represent that. Kwame became a filmmaker, a very successful, award-winning filmmaker. Anthony became a state champion. He graduated from law school. He wrote a book. Akua wanted to work in hockey, so she moved from New Jersey, attended the University of Minnesota, got her master's, and now she's working in hockey. These are all three great examples, and I would encourage all of you to think the same way. We would welcome all of you into the game of hockey, again, whether it be a player, as a fan, or in the front office. Would all of you agree?
Yes, unequivocally.
Absolutely.
And you were talking too how important it is. It'd be great. You just use this group. If a small number of them became hockey players, that would be how great that would be, and what the impact would have down the road.
Yeah, I think it's it's just a great sport to be in. It's a great sport where you learn camaraderie and friendships. You make new friends and get to do something different that maybe kids where your neighborhood they probably don't do. But I would encourage it because it's just another avenue or another thing that you can kind of get into. And hopefully, maybe down the road when you get old enough to think of what you want to do in life, maybe there is a career in sports, and hockey is also an option for you.
So there's a perception out there that if you don't start playing hockey by the time you're 4, it's too late. That's out there. Would you say that's true?
I would say it's true.
Yes.
So it's true, and I think the point you're going to make though is that it's not true. That I believe that until the more and more I talk to people. A black woman named Jazz Miley started when she was 13, 14 years old, played college hockey. Now she's a college hockey coach. So it's never too late, as they like to say.
Never too well. Nice segue, because Akua, so right now the Minnesota Wild and Minnesota Hockey have partnered on a program called It's Never Too Late. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, so our Never Too Late program is held in 3 different locations in the months of July and August. The camp is specifically for kids around 19 to 13 who have never played organized hockey before but are interested in playing. We can help you find gear, we help kids get out on the ice for the first time, and they have 8 sessions throughout the summer that they play. They learn how to skate, they learn how to play. Some of the kids have never set foot on the ice, and then many of the kids finish the program and then go on to play with our rec league, they go play parkour, or they join their local associations. And the program costs $75, but if you attend up to 4 sessions, we refund $50 back. And for a lot of families, they also end up getting almost head-to-toe gear.
So no excuses. And I think we're going to send information home.
9 to 13.
Yes. 9 to 13, yes. So it's perfect for these kids. Perfect for these kids. And we are purposely reserving a certain number of spots at each location for kids of color. And we want to encourage kids of color to get into the game. So we're going to be sending back with your teachers information about this camp, and we really strongly encourage you to consider participating. very affordable, and like Akua said, if you go to 4 of the 8 sessions, you get $50 back of the 75. So I really, really encourage you. So I know that, where's Bella? Right there. So Bella Iverson from the Minnesota Wild, she has a microphone. I know someone had a question. Okay, right here, Bella's gonna, the first question right here. So your name and your age, and what's your question?
My name is Chris, and I'm 12 years old. And hold on, what's the guy right there in the orange and black?
What's my name?
Yeah, what's your name?
Kwame.
I wanted to ask you this, homie. Like, what do you like about hockey so much that, like, you like it, basically?
You know, to answer your question, why do I like it so much? You know, I grew up in Toronto, and when I was growing up, after school, all the kids in my neighborhood played hockey. So I just played with them, and I found it to be so much fun. And I like how physical the game is. It's the fastest game in North America on the ice. And I just think the fact that somebody can do what they can do with a 2-inch blade and a hockey stick and somebody trying to hit you is really fun. And I think that I look at a lot of you young kids out here right now, and I know that there's a lot of you that could be great athletes. And I envision you guys on skates. So I know you guys would love it just as much as I do. You just have to give it a chance. But yeah, good question though.
About right there, young lady in the red. What's your name and your age?
My name is Zaira, and I am 10 years old, and I wanted to ask the yellow sweater, do y'all got kids?
What?
Do y'all got kids?
I do. I got a 6-year-old, and my daughter is 18 months.
And Anthony?
So no, I don't have children. I'm engaged, and so my fiance and I believe we want to, we agreed on that at least now. We constantly have these thoughts, but we're gonna have a family. So
You really
one
have
day you
these
might see,
discussions?
me and my fiance's kid out there playing hockey.
We have a teacher question back. You're going to pass the mic back, Bella.
I don't need a mic, but I just wanted to also say.
Oh, you don't want to say your age?
Sure, I'm 55.
What's your name?
Yeah, I'm Chris Land. But I just want to say, because there's a lot of girls here, and that a lot of the movie was spent, obviously, like,
About the
looking at
boys.
the male side of the sport, and that the female side of the sport, especially in Minnesota, has exploded and is a really exciting time. Plus, we have our first, like, inaugural, professional
Yeah.
team playing right now. And I just want the girls to know, too, that you have a lot of opportunities through the sport.
Well, do you guys have the ability to watch like on a TV screen at your school? Okay, so I'll give you my information. I'll send you a link, and then you can have all the girls watch a film that I made. It's called Ice Queens, and
I'd like to see it, yeah.
it's about black girls in hockey. So I think the girls in your school might be inspired by watching that as well.
We actually did a screening of Ice Queens last night for a group of girls from the Dynamites and from Mosaic Hockey Collective. So that was also, like Kwame said, a film that he produced. So I'll let you pick there, Bella. And how are we doing for time? Melissa, how are we doing for time? Yeah, but one last question. Yeah, this gentleman right here, the white t-shirt. Hold on, put the mic. Again, your name and your age and your question.
My name is Jaden, and I'm 11. How did it feel to play hockey for the first time?
How did it feel to play hockey?
It's a great feeling because of the speed. And so if you like riding your bicycle fast and that feeling of that the winning in you, it's almost the same type of thing. So it's a great feeling.
Have you ever ridden a roller coaster before? So I would describe it like riding a roller coaster. And so if you like that feeling, you can get that over and over and over again and generate that kind of speed on your own with your own 2 feet. So it's a lot of fun. So that's how I would describe it as like going down the drop on a roller coaster.
I would describe hockey as being it's fast, physical, and skill. All three of those things. It's just an incredible game, you know. And so